WWE was put under the microscope when wrestler Chris Benoit murdered his family and took his own life in 2007. Critics question whether the culture of wrestling played a role in his mental state.
There are instances that will come up that have the potential to tarnish an image, but then there's always the response. What lessons have been learned from something like that from Chris Benoit and then moving forward?
Well, I think that whether or not you work for the Postal Service, or whomever it is you work with, you're going to have individuals who, are outside the norm, that you have no idea are outside the norm, and they're going to commit all sorts of atrocities, most of which you find out about, some you don't. You have all sorts of behavior from individuals that are outside your control. And we control the characters, of the individuals that work with us, the performers. We control their characters. We don't control their individual life. At the same time, people understand that. People understand the brand building. When you look at, how we've built our brand through the years, so many years, you have a degree of appreciation and you have a degree of following that people totally understand that.
You're tough. You have this very deep, commanding voice. You run a phenomenally successful company. What type of a leader are you? Like, would I be scared to work for you?
Oh, you'd love to work with me. And by the way, you don't work for me, you'd work with me. Again, a philosophy that's somewhat unique. I put smiles on people's faces all over the world, and that starts with those who work with me. It's a group in which as you walk the halls, of our company, you'll hear laughter. Everyone's hard at work, but you'll hear laughter, and there's an overall enjoyment, an environment of enjoyment. So I'm very easy to work with. Some may differ only because I am so-called driven, I suppose, and have a very, very strong work ethic myself, which is a privilege. You couldn't accomplish what we have, anywhere in the world except in America.
But you're going abroad. Your focus is now international as well. So when you take your storylines into India, into China, is the story the same? Does it still resonate since it's such a different type of consumer?
Well, again, though, this is, pop culture. It's Western pop culture. We're not even looked at in China in some areas as America. It's a soap opera. It's every form of successful entertainment, all rolled into one, extremely unique. And you just can't get that anywhere in the world.
Bollywood, not all those films resonate in the U.S. Not all Hollywood films resonate in India, in the UK. How is it that you're saying that this product resonates everywhere?
Two men step into a ring.
Or women.
Or women. One guy pins the other guy to the ground for 3 seconds, or he makes the other guy give up.
One guy's good, one guy's bad.
Yeah, one guy's good, one guy's bad. It's the most basic story. It's Cain and Abel. It's, it's the most basic story that there is, and it translates because it's not necessarily cultural. It's like to your example, Bollywood doesn't resonate here. Hollywood movies don't necessarily resonate there, but they both understand what we do and they both love it.
When you think about it, back to Roman times, the gladiators, that's what they did. That's a form of what we did. Abraham Lincoln was actually a professional wrestler. It's a little known fact. But it really does. It just translates.
Actually, Vince wrestled him one time.
Oh, stop it.
Mr. McMahon is a tough guy. And
I've beat him up many times. Trust me.
In story.
Yeah, you can see it on DVD. Go back and watch.
It's documented, right? I asked him what is it like to work for him, and he said, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, "You're not working for me, you're working with me."
Yeah, but see, even when you asked that question,
the
thunderclap erupted in the sky. It's, you know what I mean? No. I've always felt like, even when I very first started in this company, when you walk in here, you're made to feel like it's your company.
Coming up, Vince McMahon, not down for the count.
I love what I do. Hopefully, and there will be people around me one day who say, Vince, you're slipping a little bit. It's time for you to step down. And then, of course, I'll tell them you're full of crap, and of course I have all my faculties.
WWE has grown from a family business to an international entertainment company with nearly $500 million in revenue. CFO George Barrios came to WWE from the New York Times Company in 2008.
In the diligence that I did before joining the company, and to see not only the growth trajectory, to take it from a fairly small regional company to a $500 million global company, so that in itself is impressive. But when you look at, kind of cut down into it and look at the real drivers of the business model, the diversity of the platforms, the fact that revenue stream comes on pay-per-view and TV licensing, in advertising, in home video, in video games, in toys, in music sales, in book sales. You say, wow, this looks like a mini Disney from a platform perspective.
With the economy the way it's been the last few years, how have you been affected, and have you been surprised by the fan reaction, considering people are watching their money more and more?
Sure. Well, we have the technical term for a company like ours, who's 100% consumer discretionary, is that we have a high economic leverage. So the way the economy performs tends to have a disproportionate impact on the amount of sales we do, because we need low unemployment, and we need people with a lot of disposable income. So the first thought would be, boy, it's going to be pretty tough for a company like that. And it's definitely been a headwind. I think one of the things that we're pretty proud of is that 2010 was the most profitable year for the company.
Andy Fixmer is a media reporter for Bloomberg News.
The WWE shares have been on a downward spiral this year, and you compare that to an S&P index of media company stocks that are up 30% this year. So there's definitely a disconnect between what's going on in the media sector and those stocks and at WWE right now. Where the upside is for WWE, and you may not see it next quarter, and you may not see it after the quarter after that, but you will see in the long-term trend that their money from television and films is going to rise. A TV network is a really smart move. What it does is it'll give WWE two streams of revenue. It gives them a subscriber revenue from the cable companies that carry the channel, and it gives them an advertising base. And their new show, reality series, Tough Enough, is gaining viewers and looks like it'll likely get picked up for a second season. So they're really kind of hitting a stride on the TV front in a way that is going to benefit the company in the long term.
The business, you're saying, you just have such grand goals going forward, and you said it's not a job. So do you see yourself ever going to sit on the beach in Belize?
No. Again, this is not a job. I love what I do. Hopefully, and there will be people around me one day who say, Vince, you're slipping a little bit. It's time for you to step down. And then, of course, I'll tell them they're full of crap, and, of course, I have all my faculties. No, not really. I guess it would only be then that I would decide to go to a beach somewhere and sit back and, really discover that they're right. I am senile. Other than that, I intend to be, as they say, die in the chair. So that's the way I would like to go.
Join Bloomberg Television on Facebook for exclusive content and previews of upcoming shows.